All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 7. That is right, week number 7 of your 9407 class, which is your Intellectual Freedom and its Discontents class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jason K. Austin, and this week we really are going to have a shorter check-in video. I know I say it every week. But no, this one really will be under 20 minutes, and then of course you can speed it up. This one will be under 20 minutes because A, there's some things that I can probably say next week since we're really dealing with the same topic on both weeks. And then B, I don't know, I think the material kind of speaks for itself, and then what's going on this week kind of speaks for itself. So let's get into that. Let's first start out with a state of the course update, and then I will talk a little bit about banned books, especially since this is Banned Books Week. October the 1st through the 7th of this year is Banned Books Week. So we are in the midst of Banned Books Week, and we have a Banned Books module. I actually did not plan it out that way. It just landed that way, and I am very thankful that it landed that way. But having said that, let's dive in. All right, so first things first, let's see what's coming down the pipeline here. So we are at October the 1st. So October the 3rd, actually. I'm sorry. So, excuse me. Okay, so I actually think we're going to go into a different view here. So, as far as what's coming down the pipeline, we do have two things of note besides just regular discussion board posts that are going to be due in October. We are at the beginning of October. The first thing is you do have your banned or challenged book report that is going to be due on October the 22nd. You all can go ahead and get started on that now if you like. This prompt here will tell you exactly what you need to do and what you will be graded on criteria-wise. And I will also say that if you, well, first of all, you do have a sample post. We have a sample post from James Rich from 2020. You do not have to follow this if you do not want to, but it's there if you want a model to go by. And then also, all of you have been assigned a banned book or challenged book, frequently banned or frequently challenged book. However, if you do want to trade or if you do want to pick something else, you do have that option. So if you don't like what was assigned to you, you can try to find something else. Or if you want to reach out to a classmate might have something that you really want to do. If you want a book that's been assigned to a classmate, you are more than welcome to try to reach out to that classmate and see if they will trade with you. If they are willing to trade with you, it is all good. Just email me and let me know, and I will get things traded and updated. Okay. All right. So that is that for the banned book, the banned or challenged book report. Again, everybody should be assigned something. If you are not assigned something or want to switch, let me know. And you do have a sample post to go by if you are not comfortable with just doing it from your own creativity. However, if you do it from your own creativity, it is what it is. Just make sure, I will applaud that. Just make sure that you meet all the prongs and answer all of the questions that are required of you to answer. We do have also on October the 24th, so in a few weeks, we are going to have a library neutrality panel. So I will hope that you all will enjoy that, and I am still working on our guest list for that, but we will have a panel of outside librarians who will speak to us about library neutrality, and that should be very good as well. So that will be on the 24th. And everything else going on in the class between now and then really is just discussion board posts. Now, there is a syllabus / module modification, and I am going to bring that to your attention now. First of all, I am going to let you all know that the suggestion when Leanne Lord was here last week, the suggestion did come in that I make one of the questions also a optional prompt in week 15, and I am going to do that. There are also there are going to be 2 other optional prompts for week 15 as far as well, basically, you're gonna be required to do a prompt on week 15. I hope I didn't confuse you there. You're gonna be required to do a prompt and do a discussion board. It's just that you're gonna have more options now of what to respond to, because you're gonna have 2 new options. The first new option is gonna be based on the questions that were asked to Leanne, and then also I have added 3, as you will see here. I've added 3 readings, 3 optional readings. They may be required next time around, but they're going to be optional for you all. But these are three optional, sorry, three optional readings. And they're all about Hasan Minhaj and his supposedly embellishing in his comedy routine, which to me is just like, give me a damn break. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm the idiot, but I don't get up there and think that comedians are telling the absolute truth when they're doing a stand-up routine. Having said that, some of the embellishment in Hasan Minhaj's comedy has caused a stir lately, so there will also be an additional prompt based on that. So if you're interested in reading these three things and responding to that new prompt, that will be fine as well. So I'll get those updated, and then I will let you all know when those have been updated, okay? And that is pretty much, as far as state of the course updates, that's all we've got going on. I've not had a chance to email Leanne back yet, but Leanne emailed me right after class last week and told me that everything was fantastic. You all did a great job. She was really pleased with the engagement and just the overall general tone of the course and of the students in the course. So I want to thank you all for that, for being good students. It always pleases me when my guest speakers are speaking positively about my students. And that's what we had this time around, and I'm very happy for that. All right. What else should we go over really quick before we stop the state of the course update? I don't think anything. As I just said, you know, we are starting out with book bans and challenges. This is actually going to be the topic for 2 weeks. More traditional this week, and then we're going to get into the recent developments next week in week 8. But, you know, we're sort of laying the foundation this time around, so that is what it is. And now that I've said that, what I want to go ahead and get into is just a little bit of soapboxing on Banned Books Week. And again, this is going to be under 20 minutes. We are already at 7 minutes. I promise you, I'm not going to speak for 13 minutes on this. But again, we'll probably also revisit this in next week's check-in video, so that's what that is. But what I'm going to say about Banned Books Week this week, because I'm going to talk about the actual week itself. And yeah, there's not a reason to really say a whole heck of a lot. So that's one of the reasons why I say I can keep this short. But I think one thing that is finally starting to change, like it started to change really during the pandemic, I would say. So this is like within the last 2 or 3 years. But one thing that's finally starting to change is that they are now focusing more attention. Our field is now focusing more attention on recent banned books. So generally, for one thing, up until recently, you'd always see a whole lot of promotional material talking about Celebrate Banned Books Week, and it's kind of like, celebrate, is that the right word? A lot of librarians were talking about ALA's promo stuff for celebrating Banned Books Week and saying, hey, you know, maybe recognize, but maybe not celebrate is the right word. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, it's semantics, but I get it. I think y'all have a point. So yeah, I try to say recognize Banned Books Week instead of celebrate Banned Books Week based on some of the issues that my colleagues have felt over the years. So that's one piece that I wanted to kind of put in your ears really quick. But then another piece that I wanted to kind of put in your ears really quick is that, excuse me for a moment, Banned Books Week has, up until very recently, just really focused on old banned books, for lack of a better way of stating that, old banned books. Like, again, To Kill a Mockingbird, you know, Fahrenheit 451, or I'm sure I just butchered that because I'm thinking Fahrenheit 9/11, and now I'm like, no, what was the real one? But yeah, that book. You know, 1984 has been banned. Huck Finn banned, you know, The Bluest Eye, so forth and so on. So those books are all great and everything, but they're also a little bit up there in age, okay? So that had been something that librarians were kind of quietly beefing with for for a while, because I came into this field as a student in 2006, and then I got my MLS. I completed it in 2008, and at least since 2006, yes, people were focusing more so on these old titles. They were not paying attention during Banned Books Week to some of the newer titles that were being banned. Things like the book about the penguins. I believe it's then in Tango Mix 3. I think that's the name of the book, and some other books that had come out and been controversial. Within the last 20 years, they weren't getting that type of attention, and people were still focusing more on 1984 and focusing on Huck Finn and all of these things. And there were a lot of librarians that were taking issue with that because they were like, no, we got to focus on what's happening in the now as well. And then finally, you started seeing a little bit of a shift in that within the last 2 or 3 years. So now you are seeing, and this is why I'm going to go back to the assigned page here. Actually, let me pause and do this a certain way. Okay, sorry, I had to do a lot of screen rearrangement there, so this probably looks a little awkward. Just see my face big all of a sudden after all of that time, but let me minimize myself. What I was trying to do was make sure that I was showing this page without showing all of your names. So what I want you all to see here, and I have, I have your names covered up, and I'm going to keep them covered up. Just in case, just a little added layer of security. But what I want you all to just kind of realize with what's going on here is that I mixed it up. So you don't just have old books like The Catcher in the Rye, Fahrenheit 451, and all of these old banned books. We do have some things that are more recent as well. Actually, now, now even the Satanic Verses is something that is kind of dated. 1988 doesn't feel as old as 1950 or 1951, but certainly I'm dealing with a lot of people now who weren't born in 1988. I was born in I was in preschool in 1988. But anyway, all of that to say, okay, you do see that we have some things that were written in the 2000s. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, George Melissa, these Tweak, Growing Up on Meth. These are titles that came out a little later and have not been the titles that typically get recognized during Banned Books Week, and that thankfully is starting to change. It needs to change now because, as you all are all aware, but at this point, people are coming for books left and right, and it's making national news, and libraries are under attack, and all of those things. But yes, I say all of that to say, yes, we are, I think, doing our profession a disservice, our practitioners a disservice, and our patrons a disservice by, I believe it's actually kind of self-censorship. I think that we are actually trying to avoid some controversy by always focusing, until very recently, always focusing Banned Books Week on the classics, on Fahrenheit 451 and on Catcher in the Rye, and for all of these things that were written before we were even born. And now that we are focusing on things that have been published in our lifetime, yes, I think that we are doing a better service to authors, to patrons, to our practitioners by saying, hey, we are keeping up with the times, and these are things that are getting banned as well or challenged as well, and this needs to stop. And we are going to protect the intellectual freedom, not just surrounding the classics, the things that are, even when we ban them, they still get taught in high schools and colleges, because a lot of high schools and colleges are still assigning Huck Finn and Fahrenheit 451 and all of these books. But a lot of these same places are not, they're not offering or assigning genderqueer. They're not assigning Tweak, Growing Up on Meth, and these sorts of things. So I think that we make ourselves look kind of irrelevant and kind of dated when we don't also make sure that as we're recognizing banned books, we are recognizing not just the classics written by the old white men, or I know I mentioned To Kill a Mockingbird, Harper Lee, Old White Woman, these sorts of things. You also need things written by people of color, and you need things that not only deal with race, because Huck Finn and To Kill a Mockingbird, they deal with race, and that's great. But you do need things that also deal with other issues like sexuality. And so somebody is assigned genderqueer, for instance, that does deal with sexual preference and gender identity and those things. So we cannot just keep it at the classics when we talk about recognizing Banned Books Week. we need to talk about contemporary titles as well. So I will leave it at that. And yes, I kept it under 20 minutes. So let's not look that gift horse in the mouth. I am Dr. Jace, and let's make sure that controversial books do not vanish without a trace. Bye-bye. See you next week.